Hello, it's Amy from Amy Parker Art, and this is my friend Jamie from Creations of Studio 39. It's 39. Okay, I was going to say 29 for a second. 39. We are a little late because of me. Clearly, my arm is in a sling. I had some issues with my shoulder last night. That's why we are coming on a little late. So I apologize for any of you who have gotten confused and wondering where the video is. But we are here now, and we are going to be talking about being confident as a creative, giving you some of our top tips on what helps Jamie and I be creative and run our creative businesses and all that fun stuff. So, anyway.
So are you having coffee, Amy?
Oh, actually, I am having coffee. I did manage to get our.
I had my cup earlier, so I'm having my energy drink now.
Nice.
So I have coffee and the energy drink.
Awesome. I did not send you everyone on my text list. I did not send out a text this morning.
I did not either. Yeah.
Okay. I don't feel so bad then. But hopefully you all can catch us, maybe pop on here live or catching the recording. Either way, I'm sure you are still going to get a ton of value out of what Jamie and I have to say, and we don't really have anything planned. We're just going to casually talk. And
I don't think that we had necessarily any specific questions. I think sometimes people aren't sure until they kind of start watching the video, like what kinds of questions, really they could ask. So, yeah.
Right. So how should we start this out? Do you want me to just we'll start giving some tips? I can think off the top of my head one important tip that I have for everyone about how to stay confident as an artist creating, right? I know I put out a post in my free group this past week, which got quite a bit of engagement, and it was something to the effect of, do you get scared when you show a new painting or a new piece of art? And a lot of people were like, yes. Sometimes I don't be able to show it. And yeah, it was interesting to see how many people feel insecure about that. But one of my tips, if you are insecure about showing a piece, even I get like that sometimes, and I've been doing it for years. But I just know after all of this time of being in business as a creative that not everyone's going to like my painting. Sometimes when I create a piece that I'm not even 100% sure about, I would still put it out there, and people would surprisingly say it's awesome, and I've sold numerous pieces that way as well. And I'm thinking, I didn't think that piece would sell, but art's subjective.
Yeah.
So we all like different things. So if you just kind of think of your pieces like that, maybe that will help. And just kind of think of you yourself when you're looking at pieces, or even if you go into a gallery or museum or whatever, and you don't like every single piece
right
the same, right? Some pieces you don't even like. So if you look at it that way, that might help a little bit. When you all pop on, go ahead and say hi so I can make sure that our comments are working correctly.
Yeah, I had mine clicked so that I couldn't see the comments at first. And I was like, oh yeah, I gotta click it back over. So I realized. Yeah, I think when I think about confidence, because it is one of the things that I talk about quite a lot and teach inside my course, and how to just be more confident. And I think one of the reasons that I know a lot about this is from experience. Experience meaning that I didn't have a lot of confidence, which was tied to my self-esteem, right? I didn't have a lot of that. And then that kind of carried over into so many different things and really kept me away from creating for a long time. And it wasn't until I kind of built my confidence in, like, internally, like who I am. And I think somehow confidence is tied with being perfect.
Yeah.
So many people think to be confident means I have to have all the answers, I have to know all the things, I have to. And, I was thinking about different things that we do that, of course, we aren't confident, but we have to do them to gain the confidence.
Yeah.
And so my confidence a lot of times comes from reflecting back. And
Yeah. Good point.
I reflect back on the things that I've done that I was nervous about, and then but I didn't die.
Right, exactly.
Like,
you made it through. It happened. You did it.
yeah.
That's a really good point, Jamie.
Yeah. So, I mean, think about, like, babies don't know how to walk, but they see these big people walking around and they want to do that. So they get up and they try and they practice and they keep doing it. And, they weren't confident. I think that we have to give ourselves the permission to be a beginner. I think
Yeah.
that we have to realize that we all start as a beginner at something. Like,
Yeah.
you don't automatically start at having a natural gifting in very many things, a natural talent in
Yeah.
very many things. And I think that that's so tied to art. People think that there's just some people who are artists. There are some people who are gifted and have that talent, but not me. So then I can't post what I do. It's very internal and tied to a lot of that, where we try other things all the time. Any kind of sport, you don't know how to play the sport. I used to tell my students, they were like, I don't know how to draw. I'm like, great, because you don't go into algebra knowing how to do algebra. You're in this class so that you can learn how to do that. And I think there are so many skills that you can learn that then once you do them and practice them, that helps to build your confidence. So anyway,
Yeah.
That was my whole little soapbox speech about, like, confidence, I think, comes from doing rather than you have the confidence and then you do.
I was just going to say that to kind of sum up what you were talking about. Yeah. The more experiences someone can have, the more confident they're going to be, at that particular thing that they're trying to do. So it's all about, and I like your analogy about the baby too, because I mean, how many times do babies fall down? How many times do they just, it takes so long just to, like, pull themselves up on the couch to stand up or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all about trying and having experiences. So if you want to be more confident, you can just start lining up your experiences and just do it. It ties into the fear thing a little bit too, because anything new that we do, like you were saying before, like sometimes we just think like this magical thing will happen. Like when we try something the first time, we should be good at it, and that's just not true. I see a few people on, and I know we had quite a few of you that said you're coming to the event. You're all psyched up for this morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I kind of threw a curveball in there because of my arm being in a sling, and I had a rough night. So that's why.
Did you say that just started bothering you, like, today? Had it bothered you in the past?
Oh, I've had issues with it before, but but not recently. It just automatically kind of came on all of a sudden last night. So, hello, Terry. Good morning.
Hey there, Terry. It's kind of funny on my side. I can't see. That's the first comment that I've seen, and I can't see that anybody's live. So I just went onto your page to make sure that it was live, and I did go ahead and share it into my group, and I was going to see if I can share it into your group too.
That would be great. Yeah.
which I was able to before. So I think.
Well, Jamie's doing that. She's talking about the groups that we admin. And it doesn't cost anything to get into our groups if you're interested in that. Jamie's group is called CBOB, Creative Business. What creative business?
Creative Business Owner Basics.
Owner Basics. Okay, that's right. And I love how you have that that short, the CBOB, because it's easy to remember.
Yeah,
Gary, I appreciate that. Mine's
I
called,
have it in the title too, so that if somebody is searching for it and they just put in CBOB, it does pop up that way.
And if you want to jump into mine, it's Creative Dreams, Artist Entrepreneur. So anyway, yeah. So if you have any questions, or if you are, what is it? I'm curious. What is it that you are not feeling confident about? Let us know so that we can give you some pointers. If we can help you out, we sure will. Even if you're watching the recording, that's okay. You can just put it in. Jamie and I will periodically come back and check and be able to answer you then as well too.
Yeah. I'll give an example that I usually use about, kind of what I was talking about, that you have to do things really to have the confidence. So when I was teaching high school art, I had a couple of potter's wheels in my classroom.
Nice.
And I technically took a ceramics class in college, but the potter's wheels were kick wheels. Have you ever seen one of those?
Well, I don't know. What's the difference with the kick wheel? I'm not sure.
There's no electric.
Oh,
so the way that the way that you make the wheel part spin so that you can create the pottery is you have to kick this thing on the ground and it causes it to spin.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was the only one. And I didn't learn how to use the potter's wheel because that's a lot of eye-hand coordination that I don't know that I really.
Sort of like tapping your head and rubbing your belly.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know that I can do that. It's like two different, I don't know. So then when I did my student teaching at the elementary school, we went over to the high school because it was my elementary teaching, and there was a potter's wheel and it was also a kick wheel. But she did, since I had more one-on-one help, I think I was able to, I don't know that I made anything worth keeping, but at least I had more of an understanding. So when I started teaching, I did learn, I researched, I looked up directions on how to do the potter's wheel because I had two of them in my classroom. So I could teach and say, okay, first you center the clay, then you open up the clay, then you pull the walls, then you let it dry, you trim it, and then we'll fire it. I knew the steps, and I knew, okay, well, you have to push down here, different things like that. But if they ever had any setbacks, any challenges, anything like that, I couldn't help them because I didn't have the experience. So once I learned and I actually took a potter's wheel class, I used to take my students on a field trip and we would go to this pottery studio and there were like 75 potter's wheels. So I would bring my class and while they were learning, I sat down and learned too. So I sat down and learned the very same, directions they had. And then I was able to come back to my classroom and actually teach them and help them and give them a whole lot more guidance. So I think that if we would reflect back on a time where we did something, even though we didn't feel confident, and we could translate that into our businesses, I wasn't able to serve my students until I took action and practiced the thing that I really didn't know anything about.
Yeah.
And I think in our businesses, that's that same way. We can serve a whole lot more people by kind of stepping up and leading by doing than we can figuring everything out and thinking we have all of and then what happens when you have some kind of a challenge? You get stuck. wait, that didn't follow my perfect list of the sequence of events that it was supposed to happen in. And you get stuck. And I think sometimes if we would just give ourselves grace and just understand that we're going to start out as a beginner, then we can help people and we can serve people in that process
Yeah.
a whole lot more than we could if we just sat back and waited until we learned everything.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have to know everything perfectly.
Yeah.
It's sometimes that's impossible anyway. But even if we know a couple steps ahead of someone else,
Yeah.
we most certainly
Yeah,
can
just
help.
one step. That's
Yeah.
all. Yeah, that's all
Right.
it is.
Right. And I think confidence too, that's a great story, Jamie. I think confidence too comes down to, like, for me, what helps me if I'm starting to feel a little fearful and not having much confidence, if I'm trying something new, right? Because we always get that. I try and think of what's the worst that's going to happen? And I know you've all heard that 101 times, probably more than that, right? But literally, if you really think of that, okay, what are you doing? And what is the worst thing that's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
And usually we make it so much bigger in our brain, and it's really not that bad. Like,
Yeah.
this is the worst that's going to happen, you know? So that should take off some pressure right there. If you're like
Yeah,
me,
for
anyway,
sure.
because that seems to help me out.
Yeah. I see a lot of people popping on now. I don't know if it was because I couldn't see the comments or
Yeah.
Yeah, Loretta, you might have missed why we had to change the time.
Yes, I am so sorry. It's my fault, Loretta, and everyone else that did not know. I have an issue with my shoulder, my rotator cuff, and I was up very late last night till 4 a.m, to be exact, crying, not feeling good. And I had a very rough morning trying to get downstairs, being one-armed. And anyway, Jamie and I popped on for a moment, and then Jamie said that, her and I discussed it first, and we picked another time so that I could actually brush my teeth and put on normal clothes. So anyway, I'm gonna live. I've had this issue before a while back. It's not going to be anything too serious, but it was painful and it did put me back a little bit. So anyway, hence the reason why we're a little bit late, but I appreciate you all popping on. Now I see you're finding us. Once again, to reiterate for those of you that did miss it, because I know we had a lot of interest for this topic today about confidence as a creative. Even if you're watching the recording, please put your questions in here for Jamie and I. We will check intermittently throughout the day and come back and answer you. Yeah. And if you have questions now, shoot them away. We'd love to.
Yeah, definitely. You can put those in the comments. I see, and I've never thought about this, Loretta's traveling. So she's normally on Eastern time, but now she's traveling for Central. And I think in an event, it shows what time zone maybe you accept the invitation to go, or something. But she's traveling, and she said she didn't get the notification.
That's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you have happy travels, Loretta.
Yeah. So she's in Florida now. Like, that's where she lives. And so she must be traveling back up to Nashville. Oh, I see Nellie popping on. It's so fun because I'm seeing a lot of these names and I get to see them next week in Texas, like in person, in real life. So I'm getting really excited. So
that's awesome.
I saw Jennifer pop on. The Artistic Ways by Sassy J is her business name. And I'm going to get to see her. And I haven't seen her for over 3. I think it's been 3 years now, because it was in 2020. We went to Dollywood for the last conference together. So yeah, I think it's been 3 years. So yeah, and I'm going to get to meet Nellie and some other people. I saw Linda. She's going to be there. So yeah. I like an angle brush too.
That's actually my favorite brush.
Yeah.
I mean, I love like the round brushes, the filbert brushes, but angles, I don't know. I've used the angle brush more than anything, really.
Yeah, I think that you can use them for so many things.
Yeah. So, so Jamie and I both have some pretty, just a little shout out for what's happening with her and I, but we have some pretty exciting things going on right now. I'm opening the doors to my membership, which I only do 2 times a year to the public. Creative Warriors will be open on the 18th. So if you are in my free group, follow my page, you're on my wait list, all that stuff, then you've been getting all the notifications on that, hopefully. But and Jamie is going to be, well, I'm not going to release any information, but she's definitely going to be seeing some of you pretty soon. And I'll let her say whatever she wants about that.
Yeah, I have next week, just being at the conference, I'll be sharing a lot of photos and different things. And really kind of like the week when I get back is when I'll like process, a lot of it and things. So I am going to have I'll call it like a master class really on this topic, on confidence. So I have some specific things that I'm going to go over, and I believe that's going to be on the Saturday when I get back. So that'll be on the 16th, I believe it is. And I haven't set up an event or anything, but I'll probably put it out on my business page, but I'll probably I might go ahead and do it out on my business page. So I'm going to do a video then and talk more specific about confidence, like some things that you can do to build your confidence, and some things like that. I might even do it on Zoom. So to give a chance to be able to, so I haven't decided yet. Oh, Rosie said she's in the North Carolina mountains. Oh, Loretta's doing the virtual. Yeah. So, when Amy and I talk about the things that we offer, it's not to try to sell to you like what it is that we're doing. I see it as more of, we both try things. We've both tried things multiple times to the point where now we do feel more confident about them. And I know sometimes I've done it. I see people do this all the time. They get so stuck in their head about a certain way that things should go. And there's almost always an easier way to do it. I mean, I always try to keep things very simple. I know you do a little bit more tech than I do, Amy, but I have to keep things really simple. So I spent a lot of time kind of thinking through things, like what would be the simplest way? What would be the way that I would have the least amount of, I'll say least amount of touch, but the things that I offer have high touch in the, as far as access and, community and things like that. But when you're launching something and it's brand new, there have been a lot of times where I've done that in the past 3.5 years. But I told somebody, I saw somebody posting about, she was just in her head and it was in a group and she said, I can't decide. I don't know about this. I'm just not good at tech, right? That's like a big thing with creatives. And I'm just stuck. And so I just gave her a couple of tips and I said, well, you start off simple. All you need to give to somebody is a PayPal link to pay you to start making money. You don't need a sales page. You don't need a email service. You don't need all of those things. And then I said, and then I did this, and then I built up to this. And so it's kind of like bricks, right? And you're building, when I talk about build, that's kind of what I picture is like building these bricks, and you're building that foundation of knowing how to do something just a little bit at a time. I didn't know how to do StreamYard a couple of years ago. I didn't know how to do Zoom. But when I set a date, baby steps. Yeah, exactly. When I set a date to do something, it forces me, well, now I have to learn it because now I've put it out there.
Yeah.
And that's the way that I kind of keep going. Yeah. So I told this person, I said, I've been doing things simple and not perfect and have built a 6-figure business continuing to do things that way. Mm-hmm. So I want to encourage you to try things because you'll make a little bit of money here. You'll help a few people here. Try something else. You'll help a few people there. and it takes some time to kind of figure out like what is it that I should like go all in on.
Yeah.
I'm 3.5 years in, and I don't know that I've completely figured that out yet.
Yeah,
But I've
we're always
made
learning.
money in the meantime.
Yes, we're always learning. Yeah.
Yeah.
I teach a lot about confidence inside of my membership, Creative Warriors. I even have a segment on confidence. But we, as a Creative Warrior family in there, we really pump each other up. And well, Jamie, because your memberships and courses, same way. Like, we don't let in mean people, right? We want to bring in people that are wanting to, connect with what we're offering, what we're teaching, and that does help to build confidence too. I think to surround yourself with like-minded people. I wish I could write right now, but I am right-handed, which is in my sling, because I would love to be jotting all down what Jamie and I are saying, so I can
Yeah, you usually have your notebook.
Yeah, because I'd love to recap at the end, because we're giving some good pointers here on confidence. And if you have any questions, please let us know so that we can help you. Give you some tips if there's something that you're struggling with right now, where you're not feeling too confident at, whether it's creating art or with your business or posting or whatever it is. I don't know, whatever it is for you. Let us know. And Loretta, I love this. And yes, we did talk about this a bit, and that's, I believe, 100% true.
Yeah,
right there.
I think so too. Yeah, and Judy commented up there what you were kind of saying that, I didn't see Terry, so we're fearful of being rejected. Oh yeah, for sure. But like Amy said earlier, there are going to be people who reject you because they're just not your people, and that's fine. Yeah. So yeah, Judy was saying when she sees me or other people doing things, it helps to build her confidence because she sees that, oh, they can do that. I can too.
It can be possible. Again,
Yeah.
it's like, oh my gosh, they can do it. So
That's the way
anyway.
that I see it. If there's
Yeah.
somebody out there doing something, I don't have jealousy or imposter syndrome about that. I think, awesome. They figured out how to do it. I can too.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not alone, Judy. A lot of us feel like that, you know. But like I was saying before, one of my tips and things that I tell myself, which we've heard before, is like, what's the worst thing that can happen? And really reflect on that. Really think about that. Like, what is the worst thing that's going to happen if you do X, Y, Z? I mean, it's most likely not as bad as you think it's going to be. Even if you fall on your face, which I've done numerous times, you just try it again, or you just try it in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah. Who Ben Franklin, right? Tried to make the light bulb like 10,000 different ways, and he just said he didn't fail. He just learned 10,000 ways not to do it. Yeah. So
yes. And Nilda brings up a good point too, because sometimes we have those people that do suck our energy, right? So we have to be strong and focus on who do you have in your circle of support system, in your friends and family zone? Who online can you connect with that can be that support system? Of course, I love working online. That's what I do mostly. So, I do have quite a support system online, and I'm very blessed to have a husband that's very supportive. But yeah, it can, I get it. It can be tough if you have those people around, but you just have to be strong, and you just have to know that if this is a desire that you have, if this is something that you feel called to do, if this is like who you are and it lights you up, then don't let anybody blow out that candle. I mean, that's yours, right?
Yeah. I would love to know in the comments what kinds of things the people who are watching do to build or gain confidence, or how they even learn about how to be confident. Because I have some different ideas about that, but I'm just kind of like curious, like what other people do for that. So, Tamara said that she was so late. Tamara, is Tamara West Coast? So is it really early?
Oh my gosh, I'm
I don't,
trying to remember
I don't
now. Tamara,
remember.
please forgive me because I know Tamara's in she's in the collaborative art gallery that I run. Um, and I don't want to say it because I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I'm not sure. Tamara will have to let us know.
Brody
Yes,
says, don't let anyone steal your joy.
yes,
Yeah.
love it.
Yep.
Love it,
Protect it.
Rosie. Perfect. I'm glad you said that. That inspires me to write that line down and stick it right by my
Yeah.
computer.
Cameras in California. I thought so. I was thinking West Coast. I couldn't remember for sure.
Yeah.
California. Yeah. I know that a lot of what I do is part of my morning routine is building into my confidence. And the way that I do that is, I mean, there are several different things, but I mean, right now, and just the other day, my husband said we need to do something about this. Last year at Christmas, he gave me an additional bookshelf. Like you can see, I have this whole bookshelf back here, and it's filled with all kinds of different, really self-confidence type books. They're teaching me about things that I want to learn more about. So all of them are building confidence in a certain way. So last January, or December, he got me an additional bookcase that sits in the other room there where I kind of sit down with my coffee in the morning or whatever and like have my quiet time. There's a little table beside that. So last December, I didn't have the bookshelf and the table was there. Well, now the table has a stack about like this. And he looked at it the other day. He's like, we need to figure out how to. So one of the things that I do and I invest time in because I know that it's worth it to be able to read and go through those books. And I really see them all as mentors in a way, mentoring me to be more confident. And if you aren't doing some kind of personal or professional development type things, it doesn't have to be reading. It can be going to like in-person conferences like I'm doing next week. It can be taking some kind of a master class. It can be learning how to paint better. You know, whatever those things are, if you aren't doing that and all you're doing is outputting, like all you're doing is creating for other people and you're never doing any of that for yourself, you will burn out. You will.
Yeah.
Because you're not filling yourself up with those things.
Yeah.
So I've seen Stacy develop a whole lot in the past year. Yeah. She learned to talk to people bartending. Oh, I didn't realize that.
And she said she has a good point at the end there. Giving compliments to others boosts my self-esteem and confidence. Yes.
Yes.
And just kind of like what you were saying, Jamie, on like sorry, I'm doing this all left-handed. So I'm like hitting some of the wrong buttons sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think that you can give me access to be able to admin or anything to be able to.
I don't think so on here.
I don't think you can.
Yeah. But I'm trying to read some of what they're saying here because there's some really good.
I see that. That is awesome, Nilda. I want to hear more about that.
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations.
Improving. Yep, taking different workshops. Signed up for the Unleash the. I don't know if that's an in-person or if that's a virtual kind of thing, but I know that I just watched something a few weeks ago with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, and it was awesome.
Yeah, they're great. They're great. I've been, oh my gosh, way back in the day, I was getting the Tony Robbins tapes and then the CDs, and then I mean,
really,
I still remember when I was, watching him on TV, and he was just a kid. Really, it's like, wow, yeah.
Wow.
I really love Tony Robbins as well. And I think that's important for us to find, like Jamie was saying, people that you can read their information that they're writing, or you can go to a conference if you can do that. But yeah, trying to,
so Nellie said it's virtual with a 6-week class online. That's awesome. Oh, wow. 20 to 25 couples. So that
That's a
means like
lot.
40 to 50 people.
It's a lot.
Wow.
Wowza. Yeah.
That's very fun. You know, I think too one of the things about confidence is having the right mindset, which is a lot of what we've been talking about.
Hmm.
But spending more of your time focusing on what is going right. I just started something in one of my memberships that's called What's Working Wednesday. So once a month we get together half an hour. There's no questions, there's no anybody complaining or anything about this is not going right, I'm stuck or what. It is 30 minutes of just what is working. And I definitely have been writing notes about, just taking notes because we all just kind of go around and share like this is working, this
Yeah.
is working. And it's just such a fun time to be able to just that energy of all of those things and taking the time to focus on that
Yeah.
rather than the things that aren't going.
Yeah.
Like sometimes people will say, well, I only have 500 followers. What about I have 500 followers? Like that's awesome.
Yeah. The glass is half
Even,
full.
yeah, even like flipping that, or, I only have 2 people that signed up for my event. Well, awesome. That means 2 people trusted
Yeah.
you with their money enough that they want to pay you to come to your event.
Yeah.
So either flipping how we're seeing it and give it a different perspective, or focusing more on, because just like Nilda, and I'm sure that there are some comments in there, what you focus on, you get more of.
Yeah.
So if you're only focusing on what's going right, guess what? You're probably going to get more things that you see, that you notice, because it filters through that. It filters through that I'm only looking for things that are going. It's like your brain wants to affirm what it is that you're saying out loud. So it's just going to look for more things that aren't going right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. There's so many paintings I put out there that didn't sell, or I didn't get the comments on it, or barely any comments or whatever. But then I think of all the times where I did sell paintings and enough
Yeah.
to pay my mortgage and bills every month for 3 years straight. Which, I didn't know that could actually happen, so I had to build that like reframe, because I always thought, oh, I better run these other businesses because I don't want to be a starving artist. But when I start to reframe that, like, why do I have to be a starving artist? Like, there's other people. And then
Yeah.
I thought, I want to work online. But oh no, I'm not very techie. And I wasn't confident with that. But I knew how to make a post. And so I just started with that. I'm like, trying to look at the glass half full, right? I'm like, okay, well, I know how to make a post, so let me do that. Yes, I'm very techie now compared to what I used to be in the beginning, but yeah, we all have to start somewhere, and we've been talking about experience, like getting those experiences and trying, like it's really like trying, right? Learning,
Mm-hmm.
trying, and getting
Yeah.
experience after experience. The more experiences you can give yourself, the more times you put yourself out there. If I can post paintings today. Maybe somebody will get them. Maybe somebody would not want to claim them. But I'm not going to, focus on the negative part of that, because if I did, I wouldn't be able to keep going. I wouldn't be able to keep running my business, whether it's me selling my own paintings or helping out my creative warriors on teaching them the strategies on how to, sell their paintings online. And, some of my members even have shows, especially in the beginning, art shows or whatever. And, they may just sell a painting or 2 or 3, or they may not sell any. But, and I'm not going to call any names out, but I can think of some in particular. But, we do, as well as our Creative Warrior family, we try and help to reframe that. What did you learn from it?
Yeah.
And a lot of them are like, oh, well, I got more people to follow my page, or I made a connection with so-and-so that helped me with my online art show.
Yeah.
Or, I found some people that love my art and I let them into my collectors group. Whatever it is, it's like, see, that was actually a success. It really was. So,
Yeah.
It's all about just believing in yourself, having that desire inside, and persistence, not giving up, and getting the experiences.
Yeah, I see a lot of people, like Rosie talked about, that she took had a workbook where it focused on taking a negative thought and then turning it into a positive affirmation. So like flipping that around. So yeah, I love that. You're saying something that made me think of, I don't remember what it was now. I'll think of it. Yeah, always look for the good. Yep, focus on the positive. Yeah. I like those things because I think that that's important to be able to I was going to say, I think especially if you are fearful, afraid, you have some just reservations about doing some things, but it is something that you're supposed to do. And if you have a big goal, that you have to take action towards things. I think sometimes just the fact that you tried it and that you had the courage to do it, even though there was that possibility of, failing, whatever that means, you had the courage to try it. And I think that sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit for just that. Yeah. And that just that. And if those are the kinds of things that I reflect on. And then I realize, oh, okay, so I tried that and I didn't know what I was doing. Here, let me try something else, and I just kind of like build on that. So yeah, there's never there's never been a time where I've launched an idea, started a membership, whatever, where I've done anything perfectly.
Right. Same here. I mean, same here.
Not one thing. And even though I've launched multiple times, I've offered things multiple times, and I've had things where people didn't sign up, people didn't buy, but I've never seen that as a failure. I just, like you said, I look at it and tweak it.
Yeah.
And I think, oh yeah, the reason that didn't do well is because I posted at a time when I couldn't sit there and make comments afterwards. And so of course I didn't get any comments because I didn't follow the strategy that I know is going to give me the best result. So
yeah,
sometimes it's just kind of reframing it like some other people were saying in there. So
maybe we should have titled this "How to Be Confident as a Creative When Your Painting Hand Arm is in a Sling."
Yeah, you're not going to be able to paint very easily.
No, that's not going to happen right now. But anyway, I want to be confident. I want to be positive. Like, I know it's not going to last forever. I'm going to be all right. And sometimes life just throws us curveballs and we just got to roll with it. We just got to keep on keeping on and do what we can do. And, I could be all bummed out and upset that, I couldn't be live at 9:30, but hey, we just adjusted.
And how's that serving anybody?
Yeah.
It's not serving you. It's not serving the people that you could help. So Nilda put in there, the more scared that I feel, but I do it anyway, the more confidence it gives me. So to the degree that you feel scared and you do it anyway, that gives you more confidence. I love that.
Absolutely.
And I think that it's absolutely true. Loretta, I would love to know what that app is. Because I tend to put things sometimes in my alarm and I don't, it's like I don't pay attention to it. So if there's some kind of an app, maybe it would track it better for me and I'd be more inclined. Oh, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's Mel Robbins.
Yeah.
Mel Robbins is awesome.
Yeah.
No relation to Tony Robbins. But
she puts it simple.
Yeah. She speaks very directly. And sometimes there are a couple of different people that I have followed or, sometimes it can be difficult to listen to Mel Robbins because she speaks pretty direct. Sometimes the things that she says can be like, oh, wait a second. But she has so much experience and she speaks from a place of she's going through things, but then she has the wisdom from things that have happened in the past to apply to it. And, yeah, so that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is kind of like do it anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah.
countdown, I love them. I am. So that's the name of the app. I had no idea that there was an I am app. So always half full. I love that, Judy. So.
What, Jamie, are you understanding what Loretta's talking about with the I am app? It reminds her to do something, or it gives her like,
I think it must give her like an I am affirmation.
oh,
As
okay.
like
Now I'm getting it. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
To
That's cool.
just, a little snippet throughout the day of kind of, reminding yourself that you're confident and yeah. So.
Yeah. And Rosie, yes. I love this. If I can press the button with my left hand. Yeah.
Oh, and then Loretta says that you can set how often. So that is awesome.
Nice.
I'm gonna definitely look back through it because I know there are some different comments and things that I'm missing as we're going through here. But yeah, I know that this is definitely something that one of the things that I try to do is to encourage people. And so I might send a direct message. I might go on to their profile. I might just, in my groups or whatever it is, and encourage people because I don't think that we do that to ourselves enough and, pat ourselves on the back. And I'm not sure why. But I mean, I do that too. So I always try to encourage people. And I think that by doing that, it just spreads around that positive energy kind of, and you're encouraging somebody else and you're kind of getting out of your own head. And, that word encourage is giving courage to someone else and noticing when they did something that's awesome and just, commenting on it.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been a good conversation so far. This is great.
Yeah. I think the thing to keep in mind, sometimes being in groups, whether they're in person, they're online, whatever, being around other people, we naturally want what other people have. And I think you have to be careful with that. And you have to have the tools to be able to kind of pause and I mean, sometimes I get very convicted about that. And I know my husband's talked about, he's a couple years older than me, but we're both, kind of thinking retirement, thinking about that. And so when he sees someone that's about his age that's retired, it kind of puts like a little jealousy, kind of like, I wish that, yeah. And we've talked about that a lot. And so I think you do have to be careful in groups around other people, and you have to have a firm set of your own values and know that on social media, a lot of times people are only sharing the highlight reels.
True.
And you don't know the whole story. And the energy that you take if you start comparing, if you start feeling jealousy, if you start, any of those kind of negative, unless that gives you the incentive to try to do things to change where you are. And then I think it can be healthy. Like I see them doing that. I see them retiring early, or how did, and then maybe you even ask them, like, how did you do that?
I like how you're bringing that point up because the grass is not always greener on the other side. It really isn't. So, I think you're right, Jamie, because I think most of us just naturally as human beings, we're going to be like, oh yeah, I want that. Or I want to get that. Or I want to be that. And yes, we need to have dreams and goals, but to avoid the jealousy or whatever word we want to use for that, because that's not going to be helpful.
Right.
Is to just understand and try and like mentally put yourself in their shoes, even if you don't know the whole situation. Like, is the grass really greener on the other side? Okay, they're probably paying more for XYZ. They probably have
Yeah.
more of this type of stress. They probably have, you know, it's probably costing them more time to do, so there's always these
Right.
other things that could be going on behind the scenes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a whole lot more behind the scenes than we know. And I always just kind of
I'm
keep
sorry,
that in.
Loretta just cracked me up.
Yeah. I know the red ants. I saw that too. Yeah, that's
Oh my
good.
goodness. You're welcome. No, I'm just down to earth, fly by the seat of my pants. That's just kind of
Yeah.
my personality. And I feel like I don't want to be someone else. I don't want to pretend to be somebody else. I mean, that's how I connect with people who engage with me and follow me or get into my membership or whatever. It's like,
Mhm.
I'm just who I am. Will everybody like my personality? No, but a lot of people do. Just like with Jamie, or just like with you, Loretta, or Terry, or Nilda. We
Yeah.
all have our own personality, so don't be afraid to let that show through, and just be confident in who you are, and you will
Yeah.
attract your people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think so many of us want to we want to be liked, we want to fit in, we want to I spent a whole lot of years doing stupid crazy stuff to fit in and belong and all that kind of stuff. And the more and more that I just am okay with, not just okay, but I'm living who I'm supposed to be and being authentic and being real, and yeah, it's a whole lot easier to live that way.
Yes. Oh my God. It really takes the pressure off to not try and pretend to be someone
Yeah.
else. I mean, when
Yeah.
I used to sing on stage and things like that, and I was covering songs or whatever, yeah, I tried to emulate that because I was doing a cover song. But I'm still, still being myself. It's still who I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does take the pressure off to just be who you are. Yeah. Paint
Yeah.
what you want, and be nice to people. Whatever you feel inspired to do, whatever that voice is inside that's like, hey, I think I could do this, or I feel inspired to do this, or just start doing it. I am so all about taking action, and that's one big thing why I was attracted to Tony Robbins earlier on. It's like he talks a lot about taking action,
Yeah.
and a lot of the self-help gurus, or whatever you want to call them, they do talk about that. But it's totally true. When I get a powerful feeling, vision, idea, or something that like I can tell what lights me up and what I feel
Yes.
compelled and inspired to do, I take action immediately.
Yeah. That
I
that's
don't even
exactly.
care
You
about,
use like all the words compelled,
yeah,
inspired, convicted, like all of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Like I
even if
don't
I'm laying
even
on the couch, I will take action by
yeah.
grabbing my notebook and writing down what I'm going to do tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Or, if that strikes me during the day, I literally will take action right there. Like, and you don't have to do everything, but what's one step you can do to take action in
Oh,
that?
yep. Yep, for sure. No, I love that. I don't even ask people's opinions a lot of times if it's something that I
Right.
feel that convicted about.
Yeah.
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 So,
I kind of ask as I go along if I run into a stumbling block. It's like, okay, now, right. But yeah, it's all about just getting out there, doing it. And as long as it's making you feel like this is my, I guess, calling, so to speak, right? What is calling to you? Um,
yeah, I see some Juanita had some good thoughts there about I'm headed towards that, and if they can, I can too. Yeah, use it as motivation. Yeah,
yeah.
I think that that's the healthy way to handle it, rather than feeling envious or jealous or any of those, because that just keeps you stuck. But
Yeah.
if you use it as motivation to think, okay, if they figured out how to do it, then I can too in my way. And yeah,
Yeah.
yep. But yeah, there's always going to be people doing things, and yeah. And especially as you start hearing their stories, and that's what Loretta was talking about. As you start hearing their stories, they didn't all of a sudden start out as somebody who was successful in, financially or
Right.
successful in, whatever. But
And one thing I just want to interject for a second.
yeah,
Those of us who don't feel confident in talking about stories here, you know what, to me, are the most compelling, unbelievable stories of inspiration are people that come from nothing and do something amazing. If
yeah,
you, and maybe that's not the right word to say, but hopefully you get my gist here. It's like,
oh yeah,
you don't have the money, you don't have the resources, you don't have the whatever. But if you just feel that spark inside and you take action, you can make steps towards that
yeah.
goal. Yeah.
Yeah, we know of all kinds of different people, Oprah and different athletes, and we like to watch American Ninja Warrior. Do you ever watch that?
No, I've heard of it, but I haven't seen
So
it.
it's just one
One
of
of
the
my
things
daughters
that
does.
we just get like so excited to see them doing all these things. So this past week they're working up to the finale. So the finale is actually going to be while I'm in Texas, but we record it, so we're going to watch it like when I get back. So they were racing against each other as part of the finals this past week, and you would see one of them like fall into the water, and I just it felt so much because then their season was over, like they were done, they're to the point where they can't move on, they can't, and because they were racing, I said, "Oh my gosh, hits me so much harder that I'm like sad for them." But what they've started doing is sharing a lot of their stories, right? So they're sharing their story about how they fought illnesses, and they were told they would never walk, and here they are doing Ninja Warrior, and just all of these different
Maybe I should
things.
watch it. You're inspiring me to check it
Oh,
out
the
now.
stories sometimes are just, oh, yeah, there are some stories, and we've been watching it now for years. I think this is like season 11 or 13, and we've been watching it for maybe 5 or 6. And so you've seen a lot of these same athletes year after year, and and now they're allowing like even younger ones in. So these like teenagers are just, it's just really one of those positive things that we like to watch. And it's such a close community, and a lot of them train at each other's gyms and things like that, that when one of them falls, and even when they know that it's the end of their season, the other one that fall, they'll cheer on the one that's still going.
Yeah.
When they were racing, and that's how it was, they knew their season was over, but yet they were still cheering on the person that could continue to move on and hit the buzzer at the end. So
Wow. What channel
yeah.
is it on, Jamie?
Oh, it's one of the network channels, 5, 9, or 12 or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I don't pick up the remote very often. Like it's just
I do
whatever
at
my
night.
husband puts it on.
That's my relaxing time. But I usually get a snack. I'll chill out, watch a little TV at night because I work hard during the day, and it just helps me. I do a lot of meditating and things like that in the morning, except this morning because of my mishap here. But
Yeah.
but usually that's kind of my.
Oh, Terry says NBC. I thought that it was
Oh,
one of the main.
okay.
Yeah, so it's coming up at the end, and so it's usually over the summer. It'll start a couple of years ago. It came to Cincinnati, and they were filming it in Cincinnati,
Wow.
and it was like at 11 o'clock at night. Because they have to shut down a street to build these,
Mm. Hmm.
things, and so I know a few people who were down there, and yeah,
Wow.
we just decided not to go down, and but. Yeah,
How far are you from Cincinnati?
it probably takes me like 30 minutes.
Yeah. I am about an hour and I think maybe 20 minutes from Boston. That's my closest big city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But anyway, We're at the hour. I'd like to say thank you all for popping on,
Yeah.
and for giving me some grace about this morning because I just was not ready. Little mishap with my shoulder here. So I'm sorry that we were late, but I saw the numbers. I saw many of you on here watching. So I'm glad that you jumped on. And I think this was a great conversation. I know I had a good time, and Jamie had so many wonderful things to help us all out with. And I love reading all your comments.
Yeah, I'm going to go back through and read. Nilda was talking about that this has just been like a spark for her to just, and it does. It gives you that it's a positive energy boost, right? And you hear about things that other people are doing, and it kind of gives you that spark to do things yourself. So, yeah.
America's Got Talent. Yeah, Nilda, that's awesome. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's like, and Tim, he won't admit it, but he's a real softie. So like he'll like literally like he can't watch, so he'll get a tear in his eye. But yeah, those stories are really just like American Idol or whatever, you hear their stories. It's
what was the one where they would build the house? That one always got me. That Ty Pennington on there, and he would tell the story about, I don't even remember.
I don't know. There's so many house building ones, and I'm sure somebody on here might know it exactly.
This was one that was on like network TV, like on Sunday nights, and they would build up the whole story, and they were rebuilding their house for whatever reason. And
oh, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
The stories on that one always got to me.
Yeah. So anyway,
there was always some type of hardship. Yeah.
Just to recap, we were talking about, in case you're catching the tail end of it, confidence today as a creative and just as a human being. So if you want, you can go back and check out the beginning if you missed that. I appreciate you all so much for hanging out with us. I do want to let you know we do these coffee chats, just another reminder, every other Friday at 9:30 a.m. So the next time we will be on Jamie's page, but for I do have jury duty on some Fridays, and I have to check my schedule. So just giving you all fair warning.
Okay. So that one September 22nd would be 2 weeks from today. Do you think that's one of the?
Let me look at my jury calendar right now. Give me one moment.
And I actually do have an event that day that starts at 10. So if we could keep it maybe 30 minutes that day and keep it a little bit shorter would be awesome. Or we could do 9 o'clock.
Actually, I'm good on the 22nd because I have to go in on the 15th. So yeah.
So look for an event. Angel said the later time worked for her today because it was she's on a different time zone too. So yeah,
I'm more of a later person myself, so I hear you on that. Sometimes I do get up really early, but that is my slow wake up time, my meditation time, my creative writing time, things like that. But yeah. I'm glad that it did work out, Angel, and you could be here today with us. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So the next time it'll be on Creations of Studio 39. And if we do 9:30, then I would probably just make it a 30-minute. So I will definitely make a post for the event, and I'll try to do that sooner rather than later, so that if you have any questions, you can put them in there and we can be very targeted during that 30 minutes and answering questions. So
good idea. Idea. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Very good. Well, thanks everybody for including all the comments in there. I'm going to go back and read those, and
yeah. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and we will see you soon.
Bye. Yeah. Thanks everybody.